This was nuts. Got to see HANABIE in one of the most intimate settings ever. It was up in Des Moines, Iowa. It was insane how close we were to the stage.
All right, did you expect to see HANABIE this close?
Not this close.
No. How close are we?
We're right on top of the stage. There's not even a barrier.
HANABIE was fucking great. They were so good, and all of the acts that they had with them on this tour were just as good as far as having the same type of energy, the same hype. Just everything meshed really well. And even at the show that I was at, we got an opening act that also fit the bill. So this is an example of bands choosing the right bands for the bill. Even the opening act was perfectly fit for this bill, in my opinion, compared to the Baby Clock tour that I just went on. But anyways, for those of you that don't know me, my name's Alan. I'm a sound engineer and a musician. We're gonna go ahead and talk about this HANABIE concert. So first off, we start with the opening act. We start with Crisis Child, which was really good, and it was just him and some backing tracks. But a lot of people mess up the backing tracks, so I gotta give a shout out to whoever programmed those tracks or recorded them. They sounded great. If it was Crisis Child that did it, then he did an excellent job with doing that. Something really cool to note about this was Crisis Child had artists come on with him on stage. So there was a song where we had two other members come up that did a rap with him. They're called Stellar Boys. And another thing that I really appreciated, I didn't realize at the time until later on in the set, was that he had another rapper at the end called Black Cat Bill, who ended up being from the band Dropout Kings, who open up right before HANABIE later on. I thought that was really awesome that he did that with the opening act. That was really cool and refreshing to see.
How we doing, y'all? Make some noise for my man Crisis Child!
When you look in my eyes, do you see the stars?
You don't really see opening acts kind of intermingling sometimes with the headliners or the main touring bands. It's normally kind of separated from the shows I've been to. It's not all the time, but it was cool to see that. Then next up, we have Foxley, who just completely comes in there and amps the place up. I mean, we had a mosh pit during every single song that they played, and I really appreciate that.
We're here to party with you guys, so I need you to shut the fuck up. I want to see stage knobs, I want to see a mosh pit.
They were really the perfect like hype men for the rest of the bands going forward. It was like such a good escalation from the opening act to Foxley. I love it though because it was a mixture of like some hardcore. We had a little bit of Rage Against the Machine influence, I guess you could say it. Not really. He just used the same pedal as Tom Morello, and he does it for a couple of songs that was really reminiscent to a Rage song, but with hardcore elements, if that makes any sense. Really good band, really fun band live. And while this was going on, I noticed that Yukina and Masudi from HANABIE were actually watching these sets as the show went on, which I thought was pretty awesome. And something else I noticed while they were playing was the singer from Dropout Kings was actually playing rock, paper, scissors, shoot with Yukina and Masudi at one point during their set, which I thought was pretty hilarious. It was awesome to see them supporting all the bands. I think all of them were supporting each other. I think all the members were off to the side watching them. Again, something you don't really see that often. Normally, bands hide away in the bus. So now we get Dropout Kings, and I gotta say, you got a new fan, Dropout Kings. I still think you guys need a bassist, so hit me up. I'm down. I love the group. They were so good. I'm definitely looking forward to checking out more. They were just a really fun band to watch. They got the crowd involved. They interacted immediately. A lot of people knew the song names and were singing along. I tried to sing along at some point and completely failed. I wish I knew the songs more so I could sing with everybody, which was pretty cool. And also, I noticed that Yukina is a huge fan of this band because she's singing almost like every single song off to the side of them. But man, the engagement with the crowd was so good. And another thing I really enjoyed was the back and forth rapping. Like when they're like, it's like they're having a conversation with each other on multiple songs, and I really like that. I mean, I'm curious if they develop that more in other songs, because I really like that style of rapping back and forth. And of course, you got singing, you got screaming. It's a good mix of everything. It's like the perfect opener, I think, in my opinion, before HANABIE. It just fit the vibe so well. These bands mesh so well together. If anything, guys, I recommend just to go see them live at least, because you'll have a good time either way. HANABIE. Comes on next, does a 12-song set plus an encore. It felt like 5 songs. It was just wild being there, just being in front of them, just thinking about when we started this channel and when you all introduced us to HANABIE is just wild, because they were at 2,000 subs at that point and now they're way above 100K, and I'm just so excited for them. And I never thought I'd see the day where I'd be seeing them that close in person. On stage. It's just insane to think about. Something that was very cool and unique with this performance is that they kept the songs very raw. You got a raw sound. There wasn't so much samples and backing tracks. They had some backing tracks, but it wasn't the full-on production that you hear in the CDs. So you're gonna get an entirely different experience when you go see them live. It's gonna be raw, in your face, lots of energy. Just they just blast you with sound the entire concert. So if you like that kind of sound, you are going to love this show. If you're expecting like perfection production, no. It does not sound like that. It's a totally different experience. Cool thing that happened to is Yukina jumps out into the crowd and she crowd surfs with everybody, and she like goes out into the crowd and like kind of circles back around. I remember lifting her back up to the stage because I was on the right hand side up front. She weighs like nothing. She weighs like 20 pounds, I swear. So they had their manager Kenny, who was off to the side of the stage monitoring the whole show. He had a laptop, so he was probably monitoring the backing tracks that they did have feeding through. But something that I thought was pretty fucking awesome is that he was like singing along to every single song and jamming out with them. And you don't see that very often, where a manager enjoys the music as much as a band. Well, I think it should be like that, and most of the time it is, but there has been those instances when you join a major label that the manager is kind of just assigned to the band. So it's awesome to see a manager that was assigned to the band actually enjoys the band on top of that. Then somehow we pulled off a wall of death in this small venue. Hey, it was pretty badass. It got so hot in there. At one point, Hetsu, the bassist, ends up grabbing a fan from a fan. Wow. And she starts like airing off everybody, including me, while I'm like holding up the camera to film that happening. It was pretty hilarious. So she's going around to all the band members, fanning them off and then fanning out the crowd. So then we get to the end of the show and we get a encore. We get a whole cheer from the crowd to have them come back on stage.
One more song! One more song! One more song!
And they come back out on stage with shot glasses and they invite all the other bands up on the stage and they all take shots together. It was a really cool moment. And they finished us off with LCG. And that was it. They were done. This was one of the fastest concerts I've ever been to. And when I say that, I mean like every single band went by extremely fast. Every single one of them were super entertaining and so fun to watch. The crowd interactions with the fans between all the bands was just spot on. I wish all bands did more of this because it is so much more fun when they're interacting with you. It creates a whole different experience and a reason to be at these live shows. Guys, did you go see HANABIE this year? If you did, let me know where you saw them down below. What did you think of the show and the rest of the bands that were opening up for them? I have more concert reviews right here, guys. See you in the next one. See you.